What was
Right.
your influence? What got you started?
Well, growing up where I grew up at Hilltop, my first upfront contact with lowriders was by this gang called the Fairmead Gang, Fairmead Boys. These white guys. They had a gang, and we would walk by them. We would always cross the street when we got to them. We were like 13, 14 years old. And one day, one of them walked across the street and asked us why we did that. You know what I'm saying? He said, just walk by here. We're not going to bother you guys. You know, they were older, 18,
Yeah.
early 20s or whatever. And they had lowriders, and we started letting them, they started, they said we'd okay if we checked out their rides. And so that was my first up close deal with lowriders, you know what I mean?
Hey, everybody. This is Joe Ray with the Wire Down Show. Today's episode, a very special guest, Daddy O. He's going to introduce himself to you, but he's coming here representing the entire Northern California, I should say the Bay Area.
Yes, yes.
The Bay Area lowriding culture. He's got a lot to say. I've got a lot to hear. And here we go. Go ahead, introduce yourself.
Name is Brett Richardson. My friends call me Daddy O. So yeah, just honored to be here with you.
So we're going to discuss lowriding, the culture. What is the Bay Area? It's not only about San Francisco Giants and the 49ers, Oakland Raiders. It's about lowriders. We're going to talk bombs. You're into bombs and you're into brand new Cadillacs.
Yeah.
But you're into story and king. So on this show, I think Whittier Boulevard is pretty much mentioned almost every show.
Yeah.
We barely mention Crenshaw Boulevard, and anybody else is out there. We never really speak about it because I want true facts. I want people who have been there, cruise that, and tell that.
Yes.
And this is why I feel that this show is a necessity. And I have a lot to learn, so I don't know it all.
Yes.
But you do, especially
I
from
know
your
what
area.
I know, just my experience. I grew up in Richmond. You know what I'm saying? Cruising 23rd. Also, Springs Road in Vallejo, the Mission in San Francisco. And from time to time, we would go to Story King Road, you know. So, yeah, started low riding in 77. The first lowrider was a 59 Impala, you know what I mean?
What got you into though? Because you're going to say 77. That's when the magazine started.
Okay. Yes,
What was
right.
your influence? What got you started?
Well, growing up where I grew up at Hilltop, which is the hilly part of Richmond, one of the hilly parts of Richmond, California, I was inspired by quite a few things that was going on there at the time. It was this my first upfront contact with lowriders was by this gang called the Fairmead Gang, Fairmead Boys. These white guys. They had they had a gang, and we would walk by them. We would always cross the street when we got to them. We were like 13, 14 years old. And one day, one of them walked across the street and asked us why we did that. You know what I'm saying? He said, just walk by here. We're not going to bother you guys. You know, they were older, 18, early 20s or whatever. And they had lowriders, and we started letting them, they said we'd okay if we checked out their rides. And so that was my first up close deal with lowriders. You know what I mean? They had 49s, 61 convertible, hard tops. They had different cars, you know what I mean? So that was very interesting. The second time is down the hill. We lived down the hill from a college. This is probably in 74. And unbeknownst to us, it was a car show going to be given that day. And we just seen all these lowriders coming in. And that kind of blew our mind, man. You know what I'm saying? It was then.
What is it? A local high school? Or
No, it was at a
fairgrounds?
college. But these cars, I guess, came from all the surrounding Bay Area towns. You know what I'm saying? And it was a show, first lowrider show that I had ever been to. And after that, we started like seeking out, trying to find out information regarding the lowrider shows. You know, it was a guy there that we did know named Melvin Parker. He was a brother. He actually lived up the hill from us. You know what I mean? But I wasn't aware of that. and he had a 70, I think it was a 71, 72 Impala, all custom painted and mirrored out. Um, the cars there had the like coffin style interior
Yeah.
with the wraparound seats in the back, the swivel seats, just all that
Those were the
stuff,
days,
man.
right?
And
Velour,
yeah,
crushed velvet.
yeah, it blew my mind, man. So that always stuck to me when I got my first lowrider when I was bought at 15. I didn't start driving till I was 16. Between it was the summer of going from the 10th to the 11th grade. I paid $300 for it.
Really?
At that time, it had it needed all the body work done, but it had 348 in it, air conditioned car, and I had to do all the body work to it. And it was a Chicano family that stayed across the street from us. Joe Fernandez Sr. He was an old lead sled dude, you know what I'm saying? And when I was 14, I used to go into the garage with him, and I showed interest in doing body work and stuff like that.
What kind of body work? Just Bondo,
Bondo, he did
or
lead.
you did lead?
He
Yeah,
did
that's what I was
lead as
gonna.
well, but he uh, he showed me that as well. But he said Bondo is what's going on now, and
Mhm.
so he basically taught me the basics. He got me comfortable with handling hand, electrical tools, the drill, the grinder, the sawzall, that sort of thing. He gave me a bucket full of hand tools, sanding blocks, etc., the puller, and just all that stuff.
A starter kit.
Yeah, he gave me a starter kit. He even gave me a door, and so I took it in the backyard, and I would practice on that. Of course, it didn't come out too cool or whatever, but my older brother was into low riding as well,
Mhm.
so I did a lot of things with him. By the time I got my car, I was already familiar with hydraulics, deassembling them, putting them together. You know what I'm saying? And so yeah, man, I got my 59, and I shaved the door handles with the help of Joe, Frenched antennas. And what we did was we Frenched antennas, and we had them going through the wing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was all about custom back then. So the grill was yanked out, and I had a tube grill, a chrome tube grill. Also, I wasn't aware that the old Freightliner diesel trucks,
Yeah.
they came with those. They came with the headlights exact to the 59s. Only difference was they were solid chrome. They were steel. They're chrome.
Hmm.
So I swiped some of those off of old Freightliner and put them up
Switched them
there.
out.
So they were chromed. A lot of people didn't know that.
A lot of people didn't know. A lot of people be
Yeah.
in prison today if they try to French antennas on a 59
Yeah,
now, right?
yeah. Well, that was 77. Another crazy thing that I did with that car, it was really crazy, is I just wanted to be different. So I got a hold of a 800 series visor off of I think it was a 47, something like that, But I got a hold of that, and I integrated that on my 59. You know what I'm saying?
159, yeah.
Yeah, and it was kind of crazy because the thing about it is I used sheet metal screws and screwed them in directly to the edge of the top. It looked crazy, but I was just experimenting, young kid, and I
It
did
all looked
that.
good back then, right?
Yeah,
No
man,
matter what we
and
were doing, it looked good. Now we go back
yeah,
and you can laugh about some of the
yeah,
stuff we
yeah.
did, but
It
at
was
that time
funny
it looked
shit,
good.
bro. It was funny shit. I popped doors. Of course, we were using the old starter solenoids.
Yeah.
And sometime it would open, sometime it wouldn't,
Yeah.
but the window
they
was
still
always
do.
there anyway. So put the tennis balls in the doors and everything like that, man. So
The tennis balls were what, for the weight?
well, no, the door they where the door jams go in, the hinges,
Yeah, yeah.
put them in there.
Okay.
It would help the door kick out.
Okay.
So yeah, I was always adventurous when it came to low riding. Being that I grew up around seeing the guys that I seen, they had these things. There was one kid he was one of the gang members named Sheldon. If I was 13, 14, he had to be like 18 at the time. And this dude was like a whiz, at doing things. And, I would stand in his garage and just watch him do stuff. You know what I'm saying? The first time I ever seen aircraft hydraulics, he had those. And he explained to me the theory of them. You know what I'm saying? What made it tick, blah, blah. You know what I mean? So that was cool.
You ever run into these guys? That gang, any of them
Well,
anymore? Because they had a lot
one
to do
name
with
was
you.
Steve, Bream, or something like that. He passed away maybe 15 years ago. He was a real cool dude. Taught me a lot so far as the electrical system, the coil,
Mhm.
replacing that stuff, along with my brother-in-law, and my older brother. Taught me a lot of stuff about cars or whatever. My brother,
Usually cars don't keep you out of trouble. And
yeah,
they're
they
a
kept me out.
gang.
They kept me out of trouble,
They
man.
didn't, because of that hobby, they
Yeah,
didn't want to just
yeah,
turn it into a car
yeah.
club.
The thing about it is, prior to that car, my '59 was only lifted in the back. And do you remember the old weenie pumps?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Circular and it. Okay. So I had that. I had that, and it was compact with the one solenoid and the pump. I mean the dump on it.
Right.
So I had two batteries that I had in a Coca-Cola, the wooden crate.
Uh-huh.
You know what I mean? Bungee to the side, and you know how we put the pump directly to the floor. But prior to that, my way of getting money for my car, I worked at a ice arena, which was up the hill from our house, and I also did lawns and stuff like that for hustle. And prior to getting hydraulics, with that big '59 trunk, I was able to fit a lawnmower and all the tools right in that truck. But that was my way of getting money to buy the Bondo and stuff like that. And once I had the car cherried out, as we used to say, I took it to Miracle, and I painted it gold, and with the underneath was white, and it had Supremes and 520s on it.
Yeah, I know that was one of the fads at that time, the white wheel wells.
Yeah, yeah,
I did that on my car too, I
yeah,
think.
yeah,
And it looked good for a little while there. An hour later I painted it black again.
yeah,
I don't know if this is gonna work.
yeah, yeah,
Um that's cool though, man.
yeah,
I mean,
man.
if because it's a hell of a responsibility. Even back then, that was a lot of money.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
you throw your lawnmower in that trunk is huge. Talking about affording hydraulics, just with this conversation, it reminds me of the time that, to make things simpler, you can lift your car, your front and back with one pump.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
one pump. Well, that's even cheaper. I'll do it
yeah.
with one pump. But how does it work? Well, first you hit the switch and your back comes up, and then you hit the switch again. Then once your back's all the way up,
Your
then the front
front.
comes up. And I thought, oh, that's cool. I was really into. You want to do that? And next time, no. What if I want to hit my front up first, then my back? No, you can't do
Well, they
that.
hadn't
It's just
figured it
one
out yet.
pump. Yeah.
You
And I
know, you
just
had to
said,
have the second dump.
no. I think I'll get a second pump.
Yeah,
Man.
yeah. Because I tell you, it was a night of a main. Did you guys call them mains here here in Southern California?
For the
For like
hydraulic pumps.
no, so far as like if surrounding communities got together on one night. Of
Yeah.
course, we cruised damn near every night,
Uh-huh.
but we called when everyone came together. We called them mains, and we would place these flyers in our back windows to advertise maybe 2 months or so prior to that time for advertisement. There was no, Instagram and all
And
these
everybody
different
would
things.
just get together and
And
bring their cars
and when
down.
the
And
yeah, when the car sit on the boulevard, you read the flyer, and it tells you, oh, it's going to be a main. Meaning, I don't know how that came about, the
no.
name
Uh-huh.
or whatever, but that's what we called them in the Bay Area. They called them mains when all cities got together on one boulevard.
You've got the magazine. You got the magazine starting off.
Yeah.
Here we go. And it's starting to grow and it's going everywhere. It comes down here to Montebello Park. And we had heard about it before it started, that when it was starting. And it was like, well, we'll see if it comes down here or we ever see the magazine. But there were rumors about it happening.
Yeah.
And the great thing about it, of course, was just to see some of the styles of cars, but to look at the flyers of different events that were happening there, you
Yeah,
couldn't believe.
yep,
No, it only happens around here.
right.
Man, a 5 mile radius. There's no lowriders anywhere else. And now there's events out there. So you have the magazine going, starting off out there in San Jose.
Yeah.
You have Story and King Boulevard or King
Mhm.
and Story Boulevard out there. What was that culture like in the early days? What were the car clubs,
Well,
predominant car
the
clubs?
first time I went out there, I didn't go out there in my 59. I went out there and I had a suicide door 67 Lincoln on hydros, front to rear, to the front first. The rear end had the leak springs. And so
They had leaf springs in the front
yeah,
wheel drive Lincoln?
in the back. No,
Yeah.
it was a 67.
So they came
67.
2 doors, right?
Yeah.
It was like the coupe, right?
No, it
With-
was a suicide door one.
they came with suicide doors?
Yeah.
Not the 4 door. We're talking 2 door.
No, I'm talking 4-door.
Okay,
but
yeah, yeah, yeah.
suicide. You know,
Okay,
they came
yeah,
out
yeah.
in like 61,
Yeah.
62, 63, all the way up
Excellent.
to 67, 8 maybe.
Tell me about your heartache. You talk
But,
about 59s and French antennas.
Yeah, but I had
And
that.
those Lincolns, now you see
Yeah.
what one went out on an auction the other
Yeah.
day. They wanted $1 million for a 67 Lincoln. It's a Kennedy car.
Oh, okay, one of those.
Yeah, that's what you're talking about?
Yeah, but
Yeah.
it wasn't the limo model. It was
Yeah,
just
yeah.
the, suicide doors.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And I had that front to rear. That's the car the first car that I took out to King and Story Road. You know what I'm saying? Then the other ones followed. I had a lot of cars back then, you know what I'm saying? 54 Bomb, 64 convertible, 61 convertible. And funny thing about acquiring the 61 convertible, as you knew things like this went on back in the day, I think it was like the year 80, well, maybe 82 or so. I still had my Caddy and I had the 54 as well.
What year's your Caddy?
The Caddy 78 is a 78 Caddy.
What
That-
color was it? Brand new, huh?
It was basically what it was. I bought it from McNevin Cadillac, and it was for the dealers to drive around in. So it only
It was a
had
demo.
it had only like 11,000 miles on it, and not only was it a coupe, it was a D-Elegance, so it was a Brougham with the Brougham pillow
Damn
interior.
right.
So
Yeah.
so
Bone
basically,
the Elegance.
yeah.
With a nice shag thick
Yeah.
carpet. Yeah, that was,
Yeah, and it
what
was
color?
It was silver with the silver vinyl top, half vinyl,
Red
the
interior.
opera lights with the red interior. And I drove it like that for I don't think it was a year. And it was a guy in our town that did custom paints. You know what I'm saying? I won't say his name or whatever, but he was putting out paint jobs, and they were nice patterns, nice. And so I approached him. I said, "Hey, look, I got this 64 Super Sport convertible. I'll give that to you for a paint job." He's like, "Really?" I'm like, "Yeah." And he did it, man. And
What color?
it was tangerine. It started from pagan gold, tangerine, to candy apple red. Opera lights. He had a lady in a martini glass leaning against the opera light. It was tight, but it wasn't right. You know what I'm saying? It was a fucked up paint job.
Well, you try to fade the colors. It's hard to get the clouds into
it's just
another
the whole
color to another
process
one.
of it wasn't right. The base. Now that I know about painting it, I started painting myself shortly after this, and it was just a terrible job, man. So I made him do it again. This time, I went with white with a red pearl mirror on the trunk, and it had ribbons going all across the top. I shaved everything off that Caddy when it, out the gate. So it had shaved door handles. The back key thing was shaved and had ribbons going across, and it had the elegance and gold leafing in the back, ribbons going all across it. It was badass, man. But the thing about it is, the first day I was bringing it from the shop, I crashed.
Oh
I
man.
wrecked it, bro. And so repaired it or whatever. And then by that time, me and my friend, we had got into experimenting with lacquer. And my friend McKinley had did a couple of successful jobs painting. So we decided, you know what, man, we're going to paint my car again for the third time. And we rented this booth from this older gentleman. that made custom bodies out of fiberglass, which I used to hang around there, and he showed me a lot of stuff as well. But we were in a booth, and he had a painter from out here, Southern California, by the name of he went by the name of Tack.
Hmm.
He did a lot of cars from the Grand Nationals or whatever, and we had just sprayed the base, which was a pagan gold, and he came in there because he was living on. He had brought his camper trailer or whatever there to do some work for the guy. And he asked
Oh,
us
that's
what we were
cool.
up to, and we told him what we are going to do, custom paint this car. And he said, "Man, let me do it." He said, "I'm not doing nothing." And we're like, "Well, who are you, bro?" And he went and got a magazine and started showing us all the stuff. Like, "Okay, man, what do you need? How much?" He said, "No, just go get me some weed." And so we
Mm,
did, man. And he put an amazing paint job on my car, patterned it out. I mean, had the louvers like you can just reach into it.
right.
It came out beautiful, man. Had some custom skirts made for it and stuff. It was nice.
Okay, so you got a brand new Cadillac. You're going up and down
Okay,
the
yeah,
boulevard.
yeah, yeah,
That's a shock. I
yeah.
mean, what was it like? You got Lowrider magazine, predominantly a Chicano-based magazine.
Mm-hmm.
That's where lowriding's at, but you got your own story going, man. You
Yeah,
grew
man.
up across the street with a white gang, introduce you to their lowriders.
No, they're up the hill. I
They're
grew
up
up
the
the
hill,
street
but
from a
I mean,
Chicano family.
your upbringing, it's a struggle, you know. And when I talk about roadblocks in
Yeah.
lowrider, I'm not talking about roadblocks on the boulevard either. You're going up and down that boulevard, Story and King, with a 78 Cadillac.
Mm-hmm.
Not too many people have that. If I go back, I remember New Style, which were one of the major car clubs out
Yeah,
there. They had a lot of Lincolns.
yeah, yeah. I remember
Good stories
new
about all of
style.
that stuff.
Really
And
good.
but the Cadillacs, I even remember when we had a brand new 77 Caddy and they came along into the picture. They were a little bit shorter wheelbase.
Yeah,
Not as much aerodynamic, but very different from the big bulky
yeah,
bumpers
yeah,
and fins and all that they had. They were more accepted into to
yeah,
lowriders.
yeah.
You had that was a
Yeah, man.
shock to everybody to have a car like that.
It was it was a trip driving that car. I was only what 18, 19 at the time, so I just wasn't too aware of what I was doing, what statement I was making. You know what I'm saying? Because I've been into this doing it for a little while, so I wasn't aware of just what was going on with the impact that I was doing. Not to say they had other guys doing the same thing. In my town, I was the first person, but you had cats in San Francisco, Low Creation, and different guys.
Low
Even in
conspiracy.
Low Conspiracy, Low Creation. Even in Sacramento, you had cats just doing the same shit. With the
Any car clubs out that way?
um, yeah, they had
Still
car
around?
clubs. Yeah, well, yeah, they have a couple that's old that's still around, but Sacramento was doing the same thing. I went to a show in Sacramento in the 80s, early 80s, and they had Cadillacs there too. You know what I'm saying? They had new Cadillacs out there. San Francisco, they were there. Even in San Jose, believe it or not, San Jose was known for having the baddest cars. I have to say that off top. They had the baddest cars, man. They had the biggest boulevard. You know what I mean?
They had the Boulevard, they had the magazine, which
Yeah,
started it all as
yeah,
far as magazines go and the culture documenting
yeah,
history all began from there. The fairgrounds, the
yeah,
shows up
yeah,
there. I
yeah,
mean, we loaded up the cars,
yeah,
trailer. No, actually, we didn't have that many. We didn't have trailers back then.
yeah, yeah.
We
And
drove
I
up there on
rarely seen a
520s,
yeah,
got lost and went up the coast and attended a few
mm-hmm,
of the fairgrounds up there. And that's how I remember I got a taste
yeah,
of the style, the clothes. We got off our cars and we had that Western flare designer jean
yeah,
boot look.
exactly. Sergio,
Walked in this, and we just looked around like we landed on Mars,
right?
and everybody was more laid back. It looked like East LA 1965, but everybody with long hair and all. The music, of course, was there, was everywhere. It was on the radio, was there,
Yeah,
Santana, the whole
yeah,
thing. But it was a shock. It was a cultural shock for us because
yeah,
we didn't believe that lowriders went as far
I
as
don't
10,
know,
15
man.
miles from East LA.
Yeah.
We saw it. I
Mhm.
mean, the competition was there, but it was good to see the
Yeah.
different plaques, because
Yeah.
I'm used to the
Yeah.
group Imperials and the clique out there and the
Yeah.
Dukes, and all of a sudden
Yeah.
now you're seeing Low Conspiracy, Low Creations.
Mhm.
There's New Style.
Latin lows, different ones. They had a lot of nice clubs out there at that time, and like I said, they were the premier city in the Bay Area, so far as lowriding went. Our Boulevard in Richmond, 23rd Street was very nice too. But I think, um, to be fair, the Mission, San Francisco, the Mission was
Mission District.
yeah,
Yeah.
that was a nice cruise spot too, as well as the one in Vallejo on Springs Road.
Oh yeah. Now
We,
now you have Family First,
mhm,
Frisco's Finest.
yeah,
Man, all these car clubs, and they're
yeah, this
huge clubs. They
new,
all get along. They party like nobody.
yeah, yeah,
Both of those
yeah.
clubs.
I was in Family First for 11 years, um, around not at the very start, but about like a year or so after it started. And little Richie, you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying, my little bro.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a good president. And yeah, yeah,
What was it like? Because I'll tell you, it's like going to Disneyland or into the mall at 5 miles an hour. Whittier Boulevard was like that for us.
yeah,
Explain Story and King to us. There's two complete streets. Whittier Boulevard is just one long shot for about 5 miles
yeah,
from
yeah,
Eastern all the way to Garfield.
yeah. Well, like I say, I wasn't a fixture on that boulevard. I went there maybe every few months.
Uh-huh.
But it was basically the same, man. It was packed, and not only was the boulevard packed, but the sidewalks would be packed as well. You know what I'm saying? With
What did it ran east, north and south, east and west? Were there certain areas in there, I guess, right on the intersection itself where it got pretty
it was just
crowded?
a cross street further, and I cruised there in the early days.
Yeah,
You know what
yeah.
I'm saying? And so I can only speak on that and that, and it was packed on the weekends, man.
All the car clubs hanging out.
Yeah, at different
Any
locations.
problems? Gangs or anybody
Uh,
ruining for
I
people
did have a
sometimes?
couple of little things, no, nothing physical, but just words. When I drove my Cadillac, whenever I drove that,
Yeah.
well, not every time, but a couple of times, you know what I'm saying? And that's kind of the norm because most cities are kind of territorial, and when there's an out of towner, you know what I'm saying? Based on the cars, you know what I'm
We
saying?
were out of town when we went to Van Nuys, Van Nuys Boulevard. What do
Yeah,
you guys? You
yeah,
guys don't belong here.
yeah,
Even sometimes anybody from Van Nuys that went to Hollywood
yeah,
were told that you guys
yeah,
don't belong out this way.
yeah.
Yeah, the territories,
Yeah,
is
it was
pride.
kind of territorial. Our town, Richmond, was the same way. Um, Oakland, you know, uh, it was somewhat the same. A lot of people don't know, man. Oakland used to be a heavy lowrider town. They had this park out there, San Fernando, San Fernando, yeah, San Fernando. I think if I'm not mistaken, off of Foothill. And on Sundays, man, that park was like a mile radius and just badass lowriders around surrounding the whole park. The main club out there, if I'm not mistaken, was Salon Imperials. I had a homeboy from Richmond, rest in peace, Pancho. He was a member of that club. But every Sunday we'll go down there at San Antonio Park, as well as Lake Merritt. We lots of lowriders there.
From Richmond to Oakland, how many miles?
You can drive there on the freeway in 10 minutes. And we got a street, San Pablo Avenue,
Hmm.
that goes right through Berkeley, in Oakland. It's just one thing. I mean, it's a big town. So basically, back in the day, we used to go there to go to the movies and stuff like that. They had all the movie theaters, they had the clothing stores, and all my cousins, my father's 4 or 5 brothers, 4 brothers, they lived in Oakland. So I was there just as much as Richmond. I actually started my family in Oakland.
You had the old Oakland Roadster show was out
Yeah,
that way.
yep,
Did you ever go to that
yeah, I did.
as a young kid?
Yeah,
See all the vans, the
yeah,
crazy vans, and all the
yeah,
hot rods, and a
yeah,
few lowriders out there?
yeah. A few. They had some. Cow Palace used to have a lot of car shows as well. In the '80s, lowrider car shows, hot rods, and different little things like that. Vallejo at the fairgrounds, just different different little places, man.
What was the scene like? Because I know there were only certain car shows
It
every
was,
now and then, park
man, it
barbecues.
was live and very vibrant. For the most part, in the Bay Area,
Hmm.
everybody got along, regardless of what color you know. It didn't matter, as long as you showed respect. You were good with any and everybody. I mean, you can eat. You want some food? It didn't matter who you were. You know, it's just like that.
And I've always said that.
We shared the boulevard, all races, with just a mutual respect for each other. So it was never no kind of racial thing that uh, went on. And I can only speak from my experience, and that's what it was in my experience. You have a little isolated incidents, you know, of course, but for the most part, it was it was pretty much harmony, perfect harmony.
You know, I'm half Mexican and half German Irish. My dad, Missouri, right? His
Yeah,
parents, Missouri, the whole thing. But I got into low riding, not because my mom was Mexican, but I got into it because it was my surroundings.
right.
And I went to a school was predominantly just all Hispanic.
Hmm.
I was the tallest guy there, but you know, my skin was white.
Right.
We all had long hair. We wore ties. And the lowriders were in my face everywhere. And I like colors and paint
Yeah.
and the way those longer cars
Oh
looked.
yeah, man.
You had a two-seater vet. I mean, you
Right.
can have two seats in the front, nothing in the back.
Right.
You want more of a car? I mean, I like the 72 Caprice. You know, got exposed to a lot of things back
Yeah.
then that I kind of
Exactly.
liked.
Yeah.
I had fun getting off because there's some people that did at that time when it was stereotyped more.
Yeah.
They would look at you and you get off a brand new Lincoln Candy Red at
Right.
USC, and all these white people are turning around, and you're going to get the answer. Well, I've ever owned a lowrider, it'd be like that. It was just straight Candy Red, right?
Hmm.
But I would get off on that door, open my door, and I would see all the white people looking. Well, here comes the lowrider. Look at
Yeah.
them. Oh, and
You
I
could.
could read their lips.
You really
He's
could.
like one of us,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And it was like it turned sides on me.
Yeah.
It turned sides where I didn't even like myself, so
Yeah.
to speak, being white.
Yeah.
I didn't like the way I was accepted differently.
Yeah.
But that kind of molded me and changed my whole life around that.
Mhm.
I could use both sides.
Yeah.
Hey, man, it's a struggle
Yeah.
out there for all of us
Yeah.
to donate
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
sacrifice into this car
Yeah.
culture,
It's a big
hobby sport
sacrifice.
culture now,
Yep.
right? It's very hard for us to do that, let alone allow racism to come into it.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And
Exactly.
I went to Indiana to witness a car show, a lowrider show there.
Right.
Everybody was blonde, blue eyes, green eyes, and I'm talking about women on their knees, laying down, sitting down, cleaning white walls and armor rolling tires. Where if I come back this way into Southern California, a blonde girl's not even going to look at a
Right.
lowrider.
Right. Right.
But those are all the bridges and the gaps we
Mhm.
have to go through. When I'm talking about Story and King, I want us to know about what the culture was like. But here you are in a brand new caddy,
Yeah.
and there's going to be jealousy and stuff. You're black,
Yeah.
you roll right into it.
Mhm.
But you know what? You deserve to be in there. This
Yeah,
is
man. Yeah.
that's
Man.
what I always say about low riding. There is no racism. We're all
No.
in a struggle as
Yeah.
it is. There's racism probably outside of it,
Yeah.
but the only colors are candy blue, candy red. There's no
Yeah.
colors between
Yeah,
all of
man.
us.
So yeah, for the most part, man, I got a welcoming. People liked the car or whatever, you know. Some didn't. Some had, you know, tripped. But, you know, that's just part of the low riding culture, even today. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But uh, but yeah, man. It
But
was some
this
cool
is the reason
times.
why, I mean, doing the car shows, being from a car club, all of that stuff, it's all great,
Yep.
but it is a struggle. You've gone through a lot in all these years,
Yeah.
everything that you have done.
Yeah.
Sometimes you feel like you're isolated, like you're the only one out there,
Hmm.
but that happens. You're alone when you're at the top. I mean, you've
Yeah.
been a role model for a lot of people, families, car clubs
Hmm.
out there, and you're representing Northern California right
Hmm.
now.
Yeah.
This show is only, and the reason why I wanted to do this is I'm very protective of where I came from,
Right.
but I'm more protective of how I came from it, the teachers that were before
Yeah.
me and what I learned from them.
Yeah.
Like today is a learning
Yeah,
experience
man.
for me, you explaining the culture out that
Yeah.
way.
Yeah.
But
It's a
I've had
beautiful thing.
conversations with a lot of people, and I
Mhm.
want to know
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah,
there,
it was very
Doc,
live and
Doc was a painter.
hmm he
Doc
was
was a painter.
a
He was a
great
great
painter.
painter. Painted under a tree, the best
Hmm
paint jobs ever,
hmm
right?
Yeah,
Never got enough fame,
never.
and it's not fair. And that's the
No.
only thing that pulls me back
Yeah,
is that there's not enough credit where credit's due, and that's why this
yeah.
show is here,
hmm
so that everybody gets a chance to tell a story. You can believe it out there, or you don't have to believe it, but you could put it together at the end
Yeah,
of the day and figure it out.
yeah. At the end of the
You
day,
can't
man.
always believe what you hear,
Yeah,
but um, I don't think that the blacks get enough credit.
yeah.
And
You
if
know,
I'm going to be a true lowrider, it doesn't matter what color or
yeah.
what race I am.
hmm
I think if somebody came before me, I've come up with a lot of ideas and
Yeah,
paint jobs and stuff like that. Hell,
yeah,
there are guys 20, 30 years before me in the 1950s already doing stuff that
yeah,
I thought of. But if you look back in books, it was already
yeah,
done. So I don't want no credit, but I'd love to give credit where credit is
yeah,
due
man.
to those who went through everything, never got any recognition. Who started the first hydraulics? Where did the first 520s come from? We had that talk already about Fernando from the Dukes, what he told me.
hmm
Brothers weren't hopping tall cans, they were hopping about this height.
Yeah, yeah,
And I'm there in shock at something looks like a 560 in 1972, a Volkswagen tire, and then I'm told later on, brothers already had those tires a
Well,
long
I'll
time
tell
ago.
you what,
And it's
man.
like, we need to know all of
I tell
this.
you what, it was two brothers, man. That was a big influence on me in Richmond. Melvin Parker and Rodale.
Hmm.
When I had my 59 as a kid, Rodale, that was in 77, and he had Zenith wires. And, I didn't couldn't wrap my head around the concept of how it worked. I'm like, well, where's the lugs at? And he explained it to me that, the hub and the adapter or whatever, but I still didn't get it. I still didn't get it until maybe a year or so later. I realized what he was talking to after I seen more and, I got more seasoned. I realized it. But those cats, man, them brothers was putting it down back in the day, man. They were big influences
Isn't
on
that
me.
crazy? So I'll go back to 77. I've told this
Mhm.
story a lot of times. The true spokes.
Yeah,
Okay, so the true spokes come with lugs
yeah.
and thick spokes. Everybody still loves that look.
hmm
Yeah,
It's
that's how
beautiful.
I understood it. And then they would come off with a little spin off 3-prong knockoff that
hmm
you had to spin on and then tighten with Allen keys.
Yeah,
They were still easy to just go step on them to
right.
fall
Come
off, and
on.
then you got yourself a set that night wherever you were cruising. But when we didn't know anything down here really about Zenith yet,
No, no,
and if
man.
you would bring that out to me, no, there's no
No.
lugs, which is a better look
Yeah,
any day,
yeah.
right? Because the lugs all get rusty
Mhm.
and the lock washers behind them, all of that stuff.
You
We could go
remember
on and on,
when
but I
I when
mean,
I had a
we
mic?
didn't know that. I
Yeah,
would be in shock too. What? That knockoff's gonna hold that car?
yeah. When I had my car, the first 13s I put on there was the Star Wires with the big fat.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about.
Oh yeah, I came out in a commercial for Star
Yeah,
Wire
yeah.
wheels.
Those were first, man. But let me say this before I forget. Another big inspiration to everyone in our town was a family, the Rinkins, Tony Link Rinkin and his brothers.
Uh-huh.
They were like the OGs, and Big Henry and his brother Pete. So far as Richmond goes, those cats, Chicano homies, they
Yeah.
were a big impact in our town. You know what I'm saying? The bombs. I remember being, I had a 67 Fleetwood Brougham that laid on the ground. I mean, flat on the ground naturally. Um, and I had a chain in
I
it.
love the way you say that.
Yeah, I'm just saying.
Because that's how I would pronounce it too.
Yeah.
I let my guys all know that.
Yeah,
Brome.
yeah,
Well, they became Landaus
yeah,
after.
yeah,
I go, ain't no Brome. That's a
yeah,
bro
yeah.
ham.
yeah. It was a Brougham.
Yeah.
The only one around.
Yep.
67. It had the trays it was Fleetwood Brougham, so it had the trays in the back seat. And I mean, that motherfucker was tight, right? And it had trues and 520s. I had a chain in there. And I remember one of my homies coming up to me and said, "Hey, man, you got to put your stock steering wheel back in." I'm like, "What? What you talking about?" He said, "Man, the Rinkins, they're putting the stock steering wheels back in their car, and so is all the homies in San Jose. They're doing the same thing."
Yeah.
So that was basically when, at the time that the chain steering wheels was outed. Do you remember that transition?
Oh, mine got outed the day I jumped in it. Thought I was cool on a hot summer day and grabbed it to pull a left-hand turn
Yeah.
out of from the side of the street, grabbed it, and then I just scarred my whole hand. I go, what the hell is this? Bad enough we used to hear rumors of accidents. If you ever
Well,
hit
you
one of
can.
those,
I
it's
mean,
over.
I had them in, I think about my first four lowriders. I had them in there. And the thing about the chains, for the younger ones that didn't drive with them, you could be in a jalopy, but if you got that little chain steering
You
wheel,
were a lowrider.
boy, you know what I'm saying, with them heated springs,
Yeah.
man, you was
Oh yeah,
You
you
was
were a
in
lowrider with a
it.
chain steering wheel. That was a hell of an identity. Then they made him even smaller to be crazier. It's
Yeah.
like, how do you turn a big ass Riviera
Yeah.
like this,
Yeah.
and turning and turning
Yeah.
and turning just to hang a left-hand
And
turn? No
another
way.
thing that youngsters, a lot of youngsters never experienced. Who knows? Maybe not. Back in the day, as you know, we rode 520s,
Right.
and if you remember, when you put them fresh 520s on your car, and you locked up, and you went down the street, it had that little sizzling sound. You remember that? Oh yeah, you
Oh
got 'em
no,
on
I know
there.
that. I know that
They
noise.
sung that little
I
sound.
know that. Yeah,
And as time went on,
2 o'clock in the
it
morning,
wore
if there's
off.
no traffic,
Yeah.
you roll down the window and just because they were crying.
Yeah.
I mean, they were screaming murder, poor
Help.
tires, right? 5,000 pounds on a 520.
Right.
But and they rode comfortable if you had the right air in them.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
that's
man.
part of our heart and soul, that noise,
I love
man.
that shit, man.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
Hell yeah. The best tire they ever made in their lives,
yeah.
man.
So, you know, I've never ran anything, but I have them on my 48. I have them on my 38 that I'm just about done building now. And that's just me, bro. I'm just a 520 guy. One thing about me, I've always sacrificed a look, a style, before comfort. And that's just always the way I've
That's the
been.
way it has to be, though.
You know what I'm saying? I just
looks.
always been that way.
Looks before dependability, comfort, all of that stuff. We talked hydraulics. You're not into hopping. You're into the most you ever had with 6 batteries.
Yeah,
I
most I've
did
ever
too. I
done.
had more oil leaks with 6 batteries than I
Yeah,
did with 3 or
exactly.
4. It's always been about try to get a comfortable ride, but
Right,
just make
right.
sure it lays out, right?
Yeah, make sure it lays out. It's out. As we said back in the day, how low can you go?
Yeah.
You know, low and slow.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? We wanted to go down as low as we could. You know, so we cut them coils down low so that baby can go as low as it's gonna go.
Slow like a parade because you're parading custom
Yeah,
paint,
straight up.
the look, the style, and everything. Who are the pioneers? I remember we talked about also Rawls Hydraulics. Who are your pioneers out that way?
We had Lowrider Hydraulics. Ryos Hydraulics was in San Jose. We would go out there and to the flea market, San Jose
Mhm.
flea market, and buy 520s. I even bought my first set of true classics out there. I think for the 4 tires and the 4 rims, if I'm not mistaken, it was like $450 or something like that with
Yeah.
adapters and everything.
That was about a month's
And
worth of
we
work.
had Lowrider Hydraulics on 23rd on our boulevard, you know.
Uh-huh.
But whenever there were stuff was not in stock, the only next place that I knew of to go to was San Ho. So we would go up to San Ho to do that. You know what I'm saying?
A lot of painters out that way. A lot
Yeah,
of
man.
holsters, of course.
Back in the day, well, I don't know about now, but in the past, in the 70s and 80s when I was coming up, they had 2 prominent painters, Joe the painter and this guy named Kirby. They both did out of sight jobs. If I'm not mistaken, the homie Melvin Parker, I think Kirby painted his car. You know, he had the mirror of the Bay Bridge. He's still around today. He's more so into hot rods, but I hear he's working on a lowrider. You know, and another thing, my older brother, you know, I always tried to follow his lead. That's how I went about getting a new Cadillac in 70. What was that? 76 when they came out with the square headlights.
Yeah.
He brought a brand new Grand Prix with the yeah. And it was lifted front to rear with the true spokes.
Those cars were the
A
baddest.
custom
Monte
custom
Carlos
grill.
too, but the Grand
And
Prix,
yeah, he was kind of
damn.
he was talk of the town at that time. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah, in a Grand Prix, yeah.
It was beautiful with a half burgundy top.
Yep.
So yeah,
Yeah, they came with T-tops. Good night.
yeah, the one some
Those cars still are ahead. They're
yeah,
a DeLorean. They're still ahead of their time.
yeah, yeah.
Um, Going back then and now is totally different for
Yeah,
you.
yeah.
What are you building right now?
I'm building a 38 Chevy two-door sedan. I had one back in '89, but I had just started my family, and one of the only times in my life I was off of work for a few months due to the harsh weather in construction, union construction worker, and so I had three cars at the time: a '67 Grand Prix convertible with the flip out lights. I had a '62, and I had that '39 that I had acquired. I mean '38, and I had to sell the '62 and the '38 to keep pay the bills. At that time, my wife was in school. You know what I'm saying? So I had to sacrifice those cars, and I always tell myself I'll get another '38, and that's why stood tall to that and true to that, and I'm doing this '38 now.
How do you go from a Cadillac Brougham 78 into 30s and 40s?
Well,
What makes you go that way? Is it the
because
guys up the hill that had an
yeah,
effect on you
they had a
too?
big effect. Fernandez across the
Is
street.
your top of the line luxury Cadillac?
Yeah,
I mean, that has to be a staple for the rest of your life. I mean,
yeah,
I still argue to this day with my Lincoln. I
yep.
love Rivieras and
hmm
every other car, but status quo, everything, the ultimate to me is still
Yeah,
the Lincoln Mark V because of its
yeah,
luxury.
yeah.
Bombs, I love bombs, but
hmm
I don't know.
I
It's
had
just a
another car
different
too.
world. But it's good to be in all worlds,
Yeah,
though,
I had a
right?
'72 Lincoln too, luxury.
Oh
It was beautiful.
man,
It was one of those
the
special
tuck
editions.
bumpers.
Yeah, it was one of those special editions that I can't think of the series it was, but it was
They had the Gucci and they had
yeah,
the
it was a
Bill
Gucci. It
Blass.
was one of those because it had white body, white vinyl top, white interior with red stripes
You
and
can't
red
find that.
buttons.
You can't even
And
find the 72. The 72 came before they made the big
yeah,
bumper
yeah,
for the shock
yeah,
absorbers and all that,
yeah.
and ruined that
So I
design.
had that too. And I tell you another story. You know, we all have those lowrider memories,
Yeah.
things that sizzles in your brain. Okay, so like '82, '83, I'm cruising down the boulevard. It was a Maine that night. So everybody out there, people, the streets are crowded, everything. And I'm in my 54 and I'm cruising down, and this homeboy, Jack Archuleta, pulls up. I tell my friends this story. Pulls up in a '61 convertible. And he look at my car. You know, I had the visor skirted, big Merc hubcaps, 520s, spots and shit. Nice, very nice car. I'm cruising down. He look over. He said, "Hey, you want to trade?" And I'm like, "Let's see, man." He said, "Pull over." I pulled over. He looked at my car. I looked at his car. I said, "Yeah, I'll trade you." He said, "Okay, let me drive your car. You drive my car, and that way I could test drive, and we'll go get my pink slip." And I'm like, "Okay." Then from there, I kept all my documents at my parents' house. Went and got my pink slip. Later on that night, I'm rolling in my new '61 drop, and he rolled in my bomb. That was
That's so
real.
mine. He was happy.
He was happy. I was happy. But it needed the body, the motor, the interior was really nice. But the body, you know, I redid all the body
Or
work.
61 rag. And this is
Yeah.
when?
This
When did
was
this?
in '82, '83.
Yeah, rags were just barely
Yeah,
getting into
yeah,
the scene
yeah.
around that time.
I mean, you know, the thing about it is, when I gave that guy that '64 Impala for,
Paint job.
yeah, Super Sport, I had two of them, and I paid 300 for the one that I gave to him, and it was running. I had did all the body work to it, so it was cherry. I had a homie that he had a '63 that he totaled out, but he had just put a new top on it. So I just unscrewed the rack and put it on on that one. You know what I'm saying? You know, they used to come very easy, you know, I mean, very cheap. I paid 300 for that one, and I paid 800 for the other one. I had a '65 convertible, and I paid $200 for it. You know what I'm saying? So,
So are you in a car club right now at
no,
all?
no, I'm solo right now. I've been solo uh probably like 4 or 5 years now.
But you got to be like sort of in a club to know a lot of people have to come to you because of your wisdom, your experience
Well,
in building lowriders, though, because you know how to do just about.
yeah,
You talk
yeah,
fiberglass, you talk
yeah,
lead,
yeah, yeah.
you talk paint,
hmm
mechanics. You
and
do it all, then, right?
I'm very rounded. My 38 was pretty much a relic um, when I acquired it, and I'd done all the fabrication. The Mustang 2 custom 4 link. I had to raise the motor and the tranny because it lays out on the ground. So I had to raise the loader and tranny. Custom. I did the custom mounts myself. I did all electrical, all the hydros, just everything. The only thing I have to do with that car, um, farm out, is the interior and the mufflers. And I did that because at my age, man, I'm 64 years old. I don't have time to give that car to a shop and they have me hostage for 5, 6 or longer
Let alone the
years.
money it
Yeah,
costs now.
not alone, let alone the money. And so that's why I made up a sound decision just to do everything. It had been a while since I did all these different things, but everything happened right there in the garage, bro. You know what I'm saying?
You see, you've been low riding close to 50 years.
Yeah, close to 50 years.
With everything that you've gone and
Constantly.
you've seen, and everything that you've seen, it's a different world now, of course.
Yeah, it's totally different, man. I tell you one thing that I know.
You go around preaching how it was.
No, I don't.
Read the Bible. This is what happened back then, so you could appreciate. You don't do none of that.
No. The thing about it is a lot of people didn't even know the things that I could do until I start showing it on Instagram. I show the stuff, it's no top secret. I've done top secret before. I used to do it when I was younger. Too old to be doing top secret now. I'd probably be gone if I,
Yeah.
So I show this, and hopefully it motivates some younger folks to be around guys that actually work on cars, opposed to that just drive them. You know what I'm saying? Like OG told me, Big Joe Fernandez Sr. told me, Daddy, it looks like you're going to be involved in this. You really like it. He said, so my advice to you is to learn everything you can about cars because it's going to save you some money. So once you get a family, you won't be able to afford it.
Yeah.
And I paid attention to that. You know what I'm saying? I started hanging around cats that actually did work the car. And me and my buddy for Mackenzie, I mean, we learned a lot together. We started experimenting with lacquer paint. We fucked up a lot of shit, you know what I'm saying? But eventually we mastered lacquer paint, you know what I'm saying? Then they outlawed it in California, so I had to get familiar with enamel. I got a buddy named Joe Stallone. Anyway, Joe, I call him El Jojo. That's my homie, as well as Bobby, OG Bobby, Ceres Vasquez,
Mm-hmm.
Bobby Vasquez. I
So
each month,
enamel paint jobs.
yeah. I mean, that's what the 38 is, but I have to get familiar with
The
that.
process and
Yeah,
putting it down.
yeah,
Mario Candy Factory
yeah,
loved
yeah,
enamels.
yeah,
I love the lacquers to this day. I have a hard time explaining to everybody that the best candy that you
Yeah.
can see out there
yeah,
from 1 to 10,
yeah,
the best thing out there is probably a 7 or an 8
yeah,
compared to the lacquer days, which were 10s.
yeah.
And they weren't afraid to shoot them on pearl white
Yeah.
like this guy here. But it takes a few days to
Well,
paint
the
them.
thing
They would
about
thin
it
out the
is,
paint.
it was just so forgiving. Shooting lacquer is just like shooting primer.
But they fade in a week if you don't watch them.
Yeah. The thing about it is, I felt real comfortable with it. I got to know it pretty well.
Can you still shoot it?
You can if you can get a hold of it. I think you can.
Oh, I know where to get a hold of it.
Really?
All of it. Oh, I was in Oklahoma a couple years ago, and they
Okay.
even have RM. If you remember RM, the
I do.
brand, they have it in. The guy goes, "You want to sell the paint?" He goes, "It's in my cabinet."
Oh,
I go, "You want to hang on to it, or how much you want for it?" He goes, "No, I'll sell it to you now. I'll just go next week to the paint shop and go
Yeah.
buy more." I go, "RM, you still have RM?" And that would,
but you got to
Yeah.
go there to get it. They won't. Yeah, you can't. They won't ship it to you or nothing like
No.
that.
um, Yeah, those paint jobs. Would you agree? Because people probably think I'm on some type of dope. Would you agree that the lacquer candies then, if we called them a 10, from 1 to 10, the colors today are a 6 or a 7 compared to those colors?
Uh, yeah, I slightly have to agree. I know that the lacquer to me was more durable, just my opinion.
Yeah.
Um, you know, it was more durable, more forgiving. Let's say I'm spraying or whatever, and you got to run. You just let it 30 minutes. You can stand right over there and continue.
Oh yeah.
And so it was very forgiving. It was less
Except
luckily.
when it came time to flaking the cars,
Yeah,
the
yeah,
clear wouldn't last long, and then it would start
yeah,
checking and
yeah. And
everything.
that's the thing. The only time I ever did a flake top was just the top. I've never did a large area. And even with that being said, I'll be lying if I say I was good at the flake. I wasn't that good. I mean, with the candy, because it would have a blotch one way or another. So I stayed away from that. On the other hand, my homeboy McKinley that I started out with, he got good with it. You know what I'm saying? With doing the
If you
candy.
could find that stuff, if you could find that paint, you'd still meddle with it, huh? Try it out.
Yeah, I would, man. I really would, because at some point I'm gonna, if God says the same, and keep me nice and strong.
You
Um,
check with me if you ever want to do that, because I
okay,
do have a
for sure.
connection on
It's
getting all those old Metal Flake brand colors.
I plan on redoing my 48. You know, I want to
Let
just
me know all them old colors I can probably hook you up with.
damn.
Before we get going here,
Yeah,
um, low riding then and low riding today, you're very modest.
yeah.
You're not one of those guys that's going to get out there and said, I own 50 cars, I
Nah,
can paint, I can
nah,
do metal work,
no,
I can do it all.
no.
In today's times, what we all forget is that there's guys out there that will climb up the ladder,
Mm-hmm.
walk on your hands to get up there, and make noise to draw attention to themselves. They won't go out
Yeah.
there and earn it. They want to be famous in 4 months,
No,
not
no, no, no,
40 years.
no.
That's the only problem that I find
Yeah,
in today's times.
yeah,
And that's another reason why this show is to make everybody humble and always respect those who came
yeah,
before you,
yeah, yeah. Straight up, man.
because it's all of us together, not
Yeah,
just one car club,
yeah,
one family, one culture.
yeah, yeah.
But you're
Exactly.
not like that. That's the only
No, no,
problem I
no.
have with
And another
today's low
thing I
riding.
confessed is I am by no shape or form some type of high quality bomb building, you know, whatever. I just do the very best I can. Most of the stuff that I know is from trial and error. So I don't, you know, supposed to be this, you know, badass builder type so and so. You know what I mean? That's not me. I just do the best I can for me. You know what I'm saying? I've taken on um, paying customers in my younger days, and most times I had a satisfied customer. So, you know what I'm saying?
Anything else you have to say? Any shout outs?
Yeah, shout out
Anybody
to
else influential to you?
yeah, man, tweet.
Yep.
If I ever
Professionals.
yeah, with the professionals, if I ever
Man, I miss Ted Wells.
yeah, I never
He
had
was
the
part of my whole
privilege to
growing up, man. That guy.
yeah, yeah. But yeah, man, tweet, you got Mothership, uh you got DJ Vegas, you got Robert with professionals,
How about
Doug, you know, it's so many
Big
more.
Dwight individuals?
Flacco out of Sacramento.
Yep.
It's just
Oh,
so many
Flacco too. Yeah.
cats. Yeah,
Flacco's cool, man.
Flacco's cool. Bobby,
He has that whole vibe, that whole era. Not only
his
just his
brother,
rides.
my homie El Jojo, just a list of others.
Jim Brown. Do you
Gary,
know Jim Brown? One Love Car Club
I know who you're
Vegas.
talking about.
I've had him on the show too, man.
Yeah, and also Gary Family First. He's a
Yeah, he
encyclopedia
is.
too.
Yep.
So yeah, man. If I missed anybody, sorry, but yeah,
Well, you're representing the Bay Area.
yeah. But in the Bay Area, there's so many cats, man. You know, Steve Santos, and you got the homeboy Marco, that builds bombs. Marco's his bomb, his 42, I think it was the first bomb I seen all hooked up like that. You know, so yeah, he made an impression on me too, so far as bombs go. You know what I'm saying?
So now that you're a spokesman of the
And
Bay Area,
we
Northern
can't
California,
forget King Rudy.
all right, you need to I need to get these guys, these pioneers, and tell their trailblazing stories here.
Yep.
This is what the show is about. I
Yep.
need to get them down here.
Yeah,
Next
man.
time you come to visit your daughter or family, get them that back seat, throw
Yep.
them in there, and bring them down here because we love to hear
Yeah.
stories like this.
Yeah.
You represent the Bay Area very well,
Yeah. Yeah.
and the culture
yeah.
of Oakland.
Yeah.
Didn't know that.
Yeah. Yeah.
The lowriding culture.
Yeah. I can't forget Myron. You got a Scandalo too out there
Yeah.
doing the thing. Sons of Soul.
Line these guys up for us.
Yeah. Sons of Soul. Hollywood. Back in the early 80s, we had the first pretty much interracial club. It was Larry Lowe was the president of that club. Me and my homies, we founded a club called Main Attraction that we started like 79. You know what I'm saying? So I have there's like 4 different clubs I've been affiliated with. I never really quit or whatever. It just ran this course, as you know how clubs do. So yeah, man, I appreciate you having me.
Then and now, what advice would you give to continue lowriding history, to pass the torch off to someone else out there? Maybe
My
you have
advice-
some type of advice. You're handing the torch off out there to the younger
my
generation.
For it to continue, I really think you younger cats need to start being more hands-on and hang around guys that actually work on cars, opposed to guys that just drive them, drink beers and stuff like that. And always respect the ones before you. You know, I don't think a lot of respect is given to the OGs of the time. You know what I'm saying? You need to give more respect to the ones that been blazing this trail. You know what I'm saying? We're old now, but man, we've been doing this stuff. A lot of us got more time low riding, going in reverse than a lot of the youngsters have going forward. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, man, that's what I would say.
To build a history,
To keep
you
it
have to
going.
remember.
Yeah.
To build a future, actually, to build a future, you have to remember your history.
Yes.
Otherwise, you have no value in it at all.
Mhm.
Can't skip pages. You just can't do that.
No.
It's an honor having you here, man.
Thank you.
Got to get you back on here. You got to bring a couple of your friends, some more
have some
pioneers out
friends.
there.
Yes.
You're a very good example of all low riding, not just Northern California.
Okay.
Glad to have you on here. And that name they gave you matches you right.
Yeah,
It's a
yeah,
perfect name,
yeah.
Daddy O.
Well, you know, mention it. Old guys gave me that name when I was like 18. I used to pull up to the job site in these old rides, playing old music, and they'd say, Daddy Yo.
Yeah.
And it kind of just stuck. You know what I'm saying?
There you go, everybody. The Broham himself, Daddy O. We'll get him back on here again. Thanks for being with us. This is another special episode of the Wired Down Show. Thanks for being here.